Hello and welcome on this special broadcast where we're discussing the biggest story of the day, and it comes from the cricket field. Now, the last 48 hours have seen the BCCI being hit by a tornado, a perfect storm if you'd like. It all started after those media reports where it was suggested that there was a rift between the test captain Virat Kohli and the white ball captain in Rohit Sharma, and both of them had timed their South Africa tour in a way that they don't have to play under each other's captaincy. Now, all of those controversies were put to rest by Virat Kohli, who addressed the press conference, the captain's customary press conference ahead of a big tour like South Africa. But Virat in himself dropped a few bombshells, a few important takeaways. Let's take a look at what all Virat hinted at in that usual style of his, where he was batting on the front foot. The first thing that he did hint was that there is a communication gap with the BCCI. Now, this is mainly because of the manner in which his ODI captaincy was taken. The takeaway number 2 for us is that he was sacked as ODI captain over a phone call, and all this was done just minutes before a selection committee meeting to pick the test team, 1.5 hours to be precise. Now, BCCI, the other thing that Virat Kohli talks about is that BCCI never told him to remain the T20 captain. Now, this though was the biggest contradiction to emerge from the Virat Kohli presser, because just days ago BCCI President Sourav Ganguly had said something completely different. That's what we're going to pay attention to in our takeaway number 4, where BCCI President Sourav Ganguly had earlier said that he wanted Virat Kohli to continue as the T20 skipper, but Virat said no, he didn't want to continue, and at that point it was pointed out to him then it will be difficult for him to continue as white ball captain, because they'd like the white ball captain to be the same when it comes to T20 cricket and ODI cricket. Now, Virat has clarified in that press conference that no such conversation happened. Also, he spoke about those rumors of drift with Rohit Sharma, and he went on to say that he's said it numerous times before. He's now tired of repeating it, but there is no rift between him and Rohit Sharma, and that he'll be delighted to perform at his best when it comes to Rohit Sharma and his captaincy in white ball cricket. Okay, we're delighted to be joined by former India captain in Sunny Gavaskar on this particular big issue that's plaguing Indian cricket at the moment. Sunny, firstly, I'd like to ask you this point that we just showed to our viewers. The president of the BCCI says one thing, the captain of the test team says another. How does this reflect on the BCCI ahead of such a crucial tour?
I think it actually doesn't really bring BCCI into the picture. I think it's an individual who has to therefore be asked, look, where did he get the impression that he had conveyed such a message to Mr. Kohli? So that's the only thing. I don't think, yes, he's the BCCI president, but I think he is probably the best person to ask, and surely he should be asked, look, why is there this discrepancy in the understanding between what you seem to have said and what the Indian captain is saying today?
Okay, that's one man's word against the other, but let's just talk about how this entire fiasco was handled by the BCCI. Would you concede that there could have been better communication? We live in a day and age where there's so many different social media handles that BCCI themselves operate. The communication when it comes to moving one captain to another, for the fans, for the media, for the other stakeholders, the communication at least could have been better?
Yes, I think it always helps to have that clear line of communication so that there is no speculation. And maybe from now on, after what has happened, the next time around, you will have maybe a more of an access to the chairman of the selection committee to be able to come down and say, look, this is the reason why A has been picked or B has not been selected. Yes, I think it helps. I don't think it is mandatory. I don't think, sometimes I think even a press release, which actually gives you the reasons why things have happened, that is also good enough. I don't think that, it should be that the chairman has to meet. A good press release giving all the reasons makes life a lot easier.
All right. Unfortunately, that good press release, as you talk about, wasn't forthcoming from the BCCI. But the other big talking point, Saniba, and I'll get your thoughts a little later on that, was the fact that Virat seemed like that he didn't like the fact that he was told just an hour and a half before a test selection committee meeting that he was no longer the ODI captain. I'll get your thoughts on that in a short while. But before that, as I mentioned in the press conference ahead of South Africa, so Kohli said there was no communication between him and BCCI to continue as T20 captain. On the other side, BCCI chief Sourav Ganguly claimed that he had personally requested Virat Kohli to continue as T20I captain. Why was there a communication gap between world's richest cricket board and one of India's best cricket players? Our next report explores.
Indian Test captain Virat Kohli has dropped a bombshell. In his press conference ahead of India's tour of South Africa, Kohli has directly debunked BCCI chief Sourav Ganguly's earlier claims. Kohli says there was no communication between him and the BCCI regarding whether they wanted him to continue as India's T20 captain. Kohli claims the BCCI never questioned his decision of leaving the T20 captaincy and accepted it without any fuss.
जब T20 कैप्टनसी को छोड़ने की मैंने पहले BCCI से कम्युनिकेट किया, सबसे पहले मैंने BCCI को अप्रोच किया कि मेरा ये पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू है, ये डिसीजन है और इन रीजंस की वजह से मैं ये करना चाहता हूं, तो उसको बहुत एक अच्छे तरीके से रिसीव किया गया. उसमें कोई ऑफेंस नहीं थी, उसमें कोई हेजिटेशन नहीं थी, उसमें मुझे ये नहीं कहा गया था कि आप T20 कैप्टनसी ना छोड़िए, बल्कि उसको बहुत अच्छे से रिसीव किया गया कि बहुत एक प्रोग्रेसिव स्टेप है और सही डायरेक्शन में है.
The Indian team captain's response comes less than a week after BCCI chief Sourav Ganguly claimed he personally requested Kohli to continue as T20 captain. Ganguly had earlier claimed that Kohli had decided to quit T20 captaincy because he was feeling the workload. In an interview with a news agency, Ganguly also said Virat Kohli was removed as the one-day captain because selectors only wanted one white ball captain. Kohli was also honest about how the whole one-day captaincy saga transpired. While mentioning Rohit Sharma as an able captain, Kohli claimed he was sacked as the one-day skipper less than an hour before the announcement was made official, indicating that he was shoddily treated by the board.
Whatever was said about the communication that happened during the decision that was made was inaccurate. I was contacted 1.5 hours before the selection meeting on the 8th for the test series. And there was no prior communication with me at all since I announced the T20 captaincy decision. The chief selector discussed with me the test team, to which we both agreed. And before ending the call, I was told that the 5 selectors have decided that I will not be the ODI captain. And that's what happened. There was no communication prior to that at all.
Clearly, Kohli's remarks highlight how there's a massive communication gap between the BCCI and the Indian Test captain. Whether we'll see a clarification from the BCCI's president, Sourav Ganguly himself, we'll have to wait and watch. Hanging in the balance is the integrity and unity of Team India. Sports Bureau, India Today.
Right then, Sunny Gavaskar still with us. Sunny, if you heard that soundbite from Virat Kohli, it's pretty evident that he hasn't taken too kindly to the fact that he was told about not being ODI captain just hour and a half before that test selection meeting that he was to have with the selectors. What do you make of this, fact that hour and a half you tell a captain that you're no more the ODI captain? I'm just going back into history where you've had scenarios where captains have been told via the media. Sometimes captains have been told by a captain of an aeroplane that you're no more captain. In that regard, is this something that is different in BCCI, or is it just par for the course?
I don't think so, because as long as it's not something that he has found out from the media, or like it happened, the commander of the aircraft making an announcement, I think that is fine. As long as the chairman of the selection committee has told the person that he is not going to be the captain, I think that is absolutely okay.
Okay, fair point, Sanibhai. But then what would you say to those who say that a player of Virat's stature, a captain as successful as Virat, this was no way to treat him, just letting him know an hour and a half before a selection committee meeting over a phone call?
I don't know what these people wanted to be done. that there should be a big band baja or whatever it is, just to say he has not been appointed as a captain. As long as there has been a communication between the chairman of the selection committee and the person that he is not going to be there. So it's an official communication. I think that, to my mind, is the decent thing to do. And over there, what that conversation was, I'm not aware of what the conversation was. Maybe the chairman of the selection committee also said, "Thank you very much for all the services that you have done for one-day cricket." How do we know that? So it might have been a pretty good conversation, saying that, "Look, thank you so much, but I think we are now looking at somebody else." That could well have been the situation.
I understand that two wrongs don't make a right, but at the moment it does seem like a luxury if a captain was told hour and a half in advance that he's no more the ODI captain. Saima, now give us some perspective, because I'm trying to think what could be the reasons. Now, whenever we look at one person has been removed as captain, we just take a look at the results. You know, he won X amount of games or he lost X amount of games. But is it something beyond that? Are there other reasons that the people high up in the BCCI look at when appointing a captain or removing him as captain? That's something that nobody is talking about. Sometimes you look at man management skills. Sometimes you take a look at how the communication is within the team, because these are very important things when you're appointing a captain.
That could well be the case, but sometimes if the captain is left out, it could be that you're looking maybe at fresh ideas. You're maybe looking, despite the fact that the captain that has been removed has a superb record. It could be that you're looking at fresh ideas, looking maybe just a little bit at the future. You're looking maybe sometimes it's as simple as looking to change the luck of a particular event, because maybe sometimes luck plays a part. Luck is an integral part of sport, and cricket in particular. And sometimes maybe that is the case that makes the powers that be, the selection committee, to come to that.
All right. Whether you agree with what Virat Kohli said or not, but you have to give him credit for the candor that he showed. He was quite forthright in all the answers that were, asked of him, and he came up with all answers that possibly could have been the reasons why he took a certain call, why he didn't take certain calls. But coming up next now, let's focus on that. We'll take a short break, but Virat Kohli also spoke about reports suggesting he's got a rift with the Indian limited overs captain Rohit Sharma. Press conference where he cleared the air on various topics. Now, the other thing was his rift with India's limited over captain Rohit Sharma. Kohli claimed that reports in the media about how he was asked for a break from the ODIs weren't true. Virat also said he is ready to play under Rohit's captaincy. We'll leave you with this.
Virat Kohli has finally broken his silence, sending out shockwaves after India today's big agenda-setting sports news break.
And as you mentioned,
Kohli has finally debunked rumours of a rift between him and India's new limited overs captain Rohit Sharma. Ever since reports of Kohli missing the one-day series in South Africa started doing the rounds, many started wondering whether the two Indians were at loggerheads. Soon it became the talk of the town, whether Kohli and Rohit didn't want to play under each other's captaincy. But Kohli has cleared the air in his pre-departure press conference ahead of the Test series against South Africa. His words coming in the wake of former captain Mohammad Azharuddin wading into the entire rift speculation.
मेरे और रोहित के बीच में मैंने पहले भी ये कितनी बार एड्रेस किया कि हमारे बीच में कोई भी प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, और ऑनेस्टली मैं पिछले 2 या 2.5 साल से मैं इसको क्लैरिफाई करे जा रहा हूँ रेगुलरली, और मैं थक चुका हूँ इस चीज को क्लैरिफाई करके, क्योंकि ये बार-बार सवाल मुझसे पूछा जाता है.
Many believed it was a clash of two personalities. While Kohli is fierce and aggressive, Rohit possesses an aura of calm around him. The rumours of the infighting between the two pillars of Indian cricket reached even the highest echelons of India's sporting hierarchy.
देखिए, खेल बड़ा है और खेल से बड़ा कोई भी नहीं है. किस खेल में, किस गेम में, किस खिलाड़ी के बीच में क्या चल रहा है, मुझे इसकी जानकारी मैं नहीं दे सकता. संबंधित एसोसिएशन फेडरेशंस का ये काम है, और मुझे लगता है वही जानकारी दें तो उचित रहेगा.
Indian fans have been divided ever since the decision to split Team India's captaincy came to light. While Kohli will continue to lead India in tests, Rohit, his deputy in the longest format, will lead India in both one-days and T20s. Kohli, while addressing the media, also said he's ready to play under Rohit Sharma's captaincy, explaining how he never said he wanted a break from the one-day series in South Africa.
Well, I was and I am available for selection all this time. You should not be asking me this question. Honestly, this question should be asked to people who are writing about these things and their sources. Because as far as I'm concerned, I was always available. I have not had any communication with the BCCI to say that I want to rest.
While Kohli has managed to shut down the rumours for now, all of India will be hoping the two power centres of Indian cricket can come together as Team India looks to conquer the final frontier in South Africa. Sports Bureau, India Today.